Hey guys! Welcome to the B Family Films DIY Challenge. We are so excited that you wanted to shoot your own family film with us, all on your phone.
So this is going to be a 3-day course, and after all your learning, at the end of it, you're going to submit your film to us, and we're going to pick 2 winners out of those films to win a film from us.
So in today's video, Kara is going to talk to you a little bit about what you need to get your phone set up. She's going to talk about your settings, lighting, some locations, and some best practices. So without further ado, let's go jump straight into that.
Hey guys! So today we are going to get started on our phone, and this video is specifically for Android, so I want to thank my nephew for letting me borrow his phone because I do not have one. I literally couldn't do this without you. I also want to give a shout out to the 2 messy buns on top of my head. I decided today in quarantine I was going to spice it up a little bit. Instead of 1 messy bun, we're going to get 2. Anyways, let's get into this. So we're just going to start off downloading a couple apps, and then I'm going to show you around one app today, then just give you some tips and some best practices for before you start shooting. And then tomorrow is actually shoot day, and there'll be more that you go into and more tips that I'll give you, but for now we're just gonna get right into this. I want to preface this too by saying I'm going to show you some in detail things you can do with the settings. You don't have to do that. As long as you just pick up your camera and shoot, we can teach you how to string those clips together, and that's totally fine. It'll look good. I just want to set you up for success too, and for those who know a little bit about cameras, maybe you'll be more interested in learning a few things that I can show you on the phone. But this is for everyone. Everything's going to be simple enough that I know you can all learn it. I just want you to know that if you're getting overwhelmed by it, you do not have to use that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is download a couple apps. So go to your Google Play Store, and you're going to be downloading 2 different apps. The first one is going to be an app called InShot. This is going to be the one that we use for editing later, so I won't be going through that one today. Chris is going to teach you that one once we get to editing. The second one that you're going to download is called Open Camera. So go ahead and download those. So now we're going to go into the Open Camera app, and I'm going to show you around that a little bit. First thing it's going to do is ask you to allow it to take pictures on your phone. So you want to allow that. Allow. And then hit OK. So now that we're in the app, we actually need to switch over to video mode because it starts off in camera mode. So on the right hand side, you'll see the little camera in the circle. You want to click the one that's under it, the little video recorder in a circle, and that'll switch you to camera mode. Or I'm sorry, video mode. And we're going to set up a few settings that you won't ever touch again, really. So in the top left-hand corner, you'll click the little gear. It's his little icon is covering it on mine, so you can't see it, but the little gear in the top left-hand corner. Then scroll down. We want to get to where it says video settings. Click on that. Resolution at the top. You can kind of choose where you want to be. Honestly, the best place is where it's at right now. You want that highest full 1080p. That's pretty standard for videos right now. It's getting to the point where 4K is more going around, so you don't really want to go much lower than 1080p. If you go down to 720, you're going to lose a lot of quality for the future. We're only growing here. So if you're just sharing it on Facebook, that's fine, do 720, but I would stick with that 1080p. All right, and so now after that, we're going to keep scrolling, and I want you to go down to video frame rate and click on that. Okay, so there's a little bit here that I want to talk to you about. So the standard frame rate for any video, what you're watching right now, the standard frame rate is 24 frames per second. That's going to be real time. You can do slow motion. Most of our films are shot 90% of the video is usually slow motion. We just like that cinematic feel. It feels like a memory almost. So if you want to do slow motion, you're going to go to 60 frames, and that'll be slow motion. There's also 120 frames per second down at the very bottom. that's going to be like super cinematic slow motion. So we have a little demo for you. I'm going to show you right now the difference between 24 frames, 60 frames, and 120 frames. So you can see there that 120 is like super slow, 24 frames is just normal. So we're going to, I think I'm going to set you at 60 to start off with if you like the feel of our videos. If you just want regular time, set it to 24, that's totally fine. But I would start you off with 60, that way you don't have to come in here every time you want slow motion. Because you can use the slow motion footage at regular speed, that's fine, which you'll learn a little bit more in editing. You'll see Chris will slow some clips down and keep some clips regular speed, but it might just be easier for you if you want to slow them down later to go ahead and set it for slow motion so you don't have to keep coming back into the settings. So I would start off at that 60. That's everything that we're going to do in here, so you can go ahead and back up to the in here. So we're going to go back out. So now we're going to get into some of the settings for your actual exposure on your film. So on the left hand side, you're going to see a little plus and minus and a square. Go ahead and click on that. So this is going to be where you can set your exposure. So right now you can see it's set to auto. If you're not comfortable messing with settings, just leave it in auto. That's totally fine. If you do want to have a little bit more control over how it looks, the brightness of the room, you can use the little slider to just kind of drag where you want it to be. So like, I would probably set this about right here because I like those deep shadows and the highlights on the top of the camera. So that can set your exposure a little bit. And then if you are wanting it to stay, like, because right now it's in auto, so it might adjust my exposure depending on where I'm going. If you want it to stay how it is right now, you click out of it, and then in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see the little lock with the exposure symbol. Click that. So that will keep it from changing your exposure as you move around. Above the exposure is 3 little dots. Let's talk about that one really quick. Go ahead and click on it. So the top line is for your flash. You're never going to need that. You don't use flash with video. The underneath that is going to be your focus settings. So the only 2 that I want you to worry about are the A and the C on either end. The A is going to be autofocus. So what that means is if you are wanting to focus on something, you have to physically tap the screen for it to focus on that point. And you saw the little box come up. So if I pull back, it's out of focus again. I have to tap the screen to go back to focusing it. Continuous focus means that that will stay in focus the entire time I move. So you can kind of pick what you want, but I will tell you too, you have the ability to like lock your focus. So like we have some shots that we like to do where we push into the shot and it's not in focus till we get where we want to be. That's where this will come into play. So if you set it to on autofocus, the A, and then you use the lock button. So I'm going to go in to where I want the shot to end. So I want it to end on that Nikon. I'm going to set my focus right there. Then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit lock. Now if I pull back, it's out of focus. I don't have to worry about continuous focus, but then when I push in, it's focused on the Nikon, and that'll stay that way. That's just something that you can do to make it a little more creative to play with your focus. But you don't have to really worry about anything like that if you don't want to. If you want to just stick it on autofocus and then use the square whenever you're wanting to focus on something, that'll work perfectly. So you can just stick with that. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the 3 dots on the left-hand side. You don't really need to worry about any of the things in the middle here. The only thing that I want you to look at is the white balance at the bottom. White balance basically just means that you're wanting it to look normal, like skin tone's normal. So there's a lot of different settings here. I would say for what we're doing, you probably should just stick with auto. Unless you're going to be like moving from inside to outside a whole bunch, I wouldn't worry about setting any settings. If you're going to be staying in one spot, you can pick one of the settings that you think best fits, like makes the screen look the best. If you're going to be outside, you could either set it for daylight or cloudy, depending on what, depending on what the light looks like outside at the time. Again, this is more information than you probably need. This is just trying to give you a little more control over what you're seeing on your phone. Set everything to auto and just shoot. We're fine with that. I just want to give you a few of the tools that we have in our hands. So go ahead and set that to auto, and then we'll shut that. That's the only thing that's left in this that I wanted to show you. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. So I want to say too that we don't know how well this will work on every Android because they are so different. We chose an app to try and make it as universal as possible so that y'all could control the same things. But if it's not working on your phone, just seriously feel free to reach out. We want to help in any way we can and get you on this track too. So we'll find another app. We'll do whatever we need to do to try and get it to work on your phone. So really don't hesitate to reach out to us on that. A few tips that I want to give y'all outside of the apps before we start shooting, just things that have helped us out a little bit. One, it doesn't matter where you choose to shoot your little keepsake film, but our favorite places are the places with the most natural light. So find some place, like if your kid's room does have a lot of windows, do it in there. Or even if you could get outside, even better, that's like fantastic. But also don't be afraid of the shadows in your house. Like you want the natural light coming in. We like to do as much of our shooting as we can without any lights on because that light is so much prettier than the lights we have in our house. But if it's causing a couple corners to be in like a lot of shadow, don't be afraid of those shadows. We like shadows. Like I was showing you on the camera earlier, how I liked it kind of dark in the front with those highlights on it. That looks beautiful on your children too, don't get me wrong. Like that's awesome. So a lot of places with natural light, that's what we say. If you have to have your lights on, that's why we show you the settings for white balance. You can get beautiful light with the lights on. It's just that daylight. Not much can compare. Also, if you're finding that as when you pull out your phone, sometimes the kids like to play it up for the camera, but you're really wanting to get those natural moments. You don't really want them playing it up for the camera. Just put your camera down for a little bit. Let them get back into it. There's no rush. We're all at home for a while. Let them get back into it, then pull your camera back out and try getting those. That's a tip that's helped us a lot, being strangers coming into a house and the kids playing up for it. So if that's something you need to do, that's fine. Not that there's anything wrong with a kid playing up for a camera. That can be really cute too. It's just, that's a tip that helped us when we were starting out. Other than that, I think that's all that I have for you today. So tomorrow is going to be shooting day. I'm going to give you a few tips on actually shooting, some more in-depth stuff on shots you can use, stuff like that. And then Chris is actually going to walk you through our entire shoot that we did, just so you can see all of the tips that we've laid out for you in practice, because that oftentimes helps a lot. So if you have any questions about this video, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you. I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Bye!